This is Lance Wallnau. He is a Christian nationalist, like self-proclaimed Christian nationalist. He says, I am a Christian nationalist. I'll show you in a second. He believes in a whole bunch of bizarre Trump prophecies. I want to listen to what he has to say here. He's about to talk about a guy named Clement. Clement is like the prophet in their mind who prophesied that Donald Trump was going to take control. I mean, it's real crazy stuff. They believe he's the Messiah and everything. Let's listen to what he has to say here.
And then Elon Musk goes and posts, we need the American party.
Wait, when did this post? This posted... Okay, so this just posted, and it... All right, yeah, so this just posted. Let's see what he said.
And I'd say, when you were with Clement, you remember him saying this. He prophesied about a new party arising, the American Party. He said it by name. I'm going to show you the segment. 2013. And I'd say, when you were with Clement, you remember him saying this. He prophesied about a new party arising, the American Party. He said it by name. I'm going to show you the segment. 2013. And then Elon Musk goes and posts, we need the American Party. 80%.
Yeah, so I think I remember this, him saying this or whatever. If I remember correctly, this is where Elon Musk was like super pissed off at Trump and throwing a little bitch fit. Rightfully so. I mean, they're both bitches, so they're both throwing bitch fits over each other. Anyway, Elon Musk was throwing a bitch fit over Trump and said that he should be impeached and that they need to start the American Party. And nobody really knew where anybody in the media was going to stand, if they were going to stand with Musk or Trump or what. Oh my God, that was a glorious moment. And then Trump sent in the military to quell protests so that everybody would be distracted by it, of course. Anyway, in that whole bitch fit that he was throwing, he said, we should start the American Party. I guess as a fuck you to Donald Trump or something. That's awesome.
Rising, the American Party. He said it by name. I'm going to show you the segment. 2013. And then Elon Musk goes and posts, we need the American Party. 80% of the people on X are saying yes. Well, we don't need to divide Trump's base, but it's in the air. Just like I told you, as we're going to the BRICS thing in July. You know what the BRICS thing is? That's when...
Yeah, it's Brazil. Oh, my God, I don't remember. They're India, China, whatever. It's the economic competitor to NATO, I think, basically.
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
Russia and Brazil and the communist Chinese and the communists in Brazil and the
Okay, you forgot India. You already said Brazil. What are you talking about?
That's when Russia and Brazil and the communist Chinese and the communists in Brazil and the commissars in Russia and India, who says they're our friend but wants to really dominate the world. Let me tell you something. They're going to try to figure out how to destabilize and dethrone and decouple from the dollar. I told you, you got to get your report. Get your report from me. If you had listened to me 2 years ago, every dollar you put into gold would be at 70.
Oh, my God, dude. He's giving us a gold scam. Really? Come on, man.
3% more value. 73%, Lance? And I'm smacking myself in the head because I didn't do what I should have done. I'm telling you what to do. But I had to squirrel away a few nest eggs with Annabelle and roll over some IRAs and do what we can because it was 46% increase just in the last 14 months in gold. Get your report, folks. Find out about the different way gold works.
All right, look, so this is obviously an ad. The thing is, yes, gold is a safe asset a lot of the time when other things are not safe. People invest in gold when, like, government bonds shouldn't be trusted or whatever, but it is not a fully trustworthy... Like, you shouldn't put all of your eggs in one basket. Invest some in gold, certainly. I'm down for that, sure. But these gold scams that these people run, they're trying to convince you to invest everything in their weird little gold scam and do it through their company using their promo code. It's just scumbag shit, dude. They're not trustworthy. You shouldn't be doing this. It's not, you know, it's not safe. They're just like, Lance Wallnau is doing this because he's a scumbag. So he's giving us a gold scam thing. Yeah, I don't really care. Let's jump forward.
The summer of love is upon us.
1969?
The weather's clear. It's time for riots. And what I want to deal with now is the unspoken truth that needs to be spoken clearly, because Rush Limbaugh used to call him the low information voter. That is the person who's kind of tuning in superficially to the news cycle and kind of thinks they know what's going on, but they don't really know the details. When it comes time for elections, they're not really following anything until Labor Day. This is a fact.
Yeah, I mean, there are people like that. Absolutely. I agree. And that's a problem, truthfully. That's another way you fight fascism, is by fighting against low information, generally, making sure that people are like informed on things and that they know what's going on and they know how society is being taken advantage of and abused and everything. You know, Trump supporters trying to put information out there in low information land. They're trying to push information out to spaces that wouldn't normally have access to it. Like, you know, your grandma doesn't really know anything about like politics or whatever. She's not paying any attention, right? But when your uncle comes in, your trusted, loved uncle, and he like explains some of this shit to your grandma, she's like, oh my God, I had no idea this was going on. They're trying to push it into spaces that it wouldn't normally exist in the first place. That is part of the goal and strategy, and you need to fight against it. Put stuff out there in areas of society where it wouldn't normally be. In Germany, it used to be put on bus benches. They used to put, you know, political ads and stuff on bus benches, on everything. It was everywhere. I mean, that's what happens when democracy starts to fail. This stuff is everywhere, these political ads. So, point is, you need to pierce that bubble of low or no information voter and make sure that they're aware of what's going on. That's one way we can fight.
And then after Labor Day, what is that, September or so, October and November, they're into the election cycle. So this is just the way human beings are. People are busy. They got lives, and they're not, and frankly, if you're smart, you don't live addicted to every flippin' social media news cycle that wants to traumatize you. Never forget, advertising drives all media. Everything.
Wait, did he say that we should be low information voters or we shouldn't be? Because it sounds like he's saying we should. No, you know what he's really saying? He's saying you shouldn't be on any media except for mine. I will make you a non-low information voter, but you don't have to get your info anywhere else. That's what he's saying. By the way, this is the final boss, or this is the second from final boss in the game. I'm not going to bother with the final boss because it's not that fun, and it's kind of they botched the remake. This is the, Heckers. This is the final boss in the original game. Oh boy. I'm trying to kill him, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job here. I think I'm getting it. Let's keep listening.
You watch is motivated, funded, and rewarded by getting advertising revenue. So therefore, when there's bad news, calamity, hair on fire, breaking news, it produces more eyeballs, more attention, more traffic, more people for the products, more sales. So there's a built-in kind of a cyclical nature to news, and that is that the more extraordinary it is, the more revenue it drives the platform. But be that as it may, I think every now and then, Carl, it might behoove people to do, you're kind of in this space of health and peak performance. Don't you think that a media fast, a social media fast, a purge, if you will, of exposure to stuff could be beneficial to performance for people that are really seeking balanced lifestyle and peak performance?
Undoubtedly. Doing a dopamine cleanse or a screen cleanse of your life can absolutely help reset you.
A dopamine cleanse. Okay.
Recalibrate you back to baseline. We're so inundated with news cycles, with fear. Anxiety is just paying a fear tax that may never come due. And with these warmongering, these fear-mongering on all of the major...
These people are literally fear-mongering. That is what they are doing. How can these people say this shit with a straight face?
Legacy platforms, it really would behoove you to spend some time away from that for sure.
And having said that, I do believe we're on the brink of nuclear war. So I want to get your attention.
Yeah, right? Like, you literally are the fearmonger here. What are you talking about?
On a couple of subjects, but I want to do it in a balanced way. A friend of mine said recently that she and her mother stopped talking. She couldn't talk with her anymore because her mother was, I don't know where the Q, don't go crazy on me now, all you Q addicts out there, but I don't know.
Oh, no. Oh, my God, dude. He's talking about Q. So the QAnon people. Lance Wallnau caters to and panders to the QAnon crowd. I don't know what he's talking about here.
More because her mother was, I don't know where the Q, don't go crazy on me now, all you Q addicts out there, but I don't know where the Q cul-de-sacs are that are talking about the that 6 million Jews weren't killed by Germans. That was all fake news. And that the whole idea that the Holocaust didn't happen. And so this gal is talking to her mother, and her mother's going off on this Q stuff about the Holocaust didn't happen. And she told her mom, she said, after a couple of conversations like the world is flat and stuff like that, and JFK Jr. is alive, waiting.
Wow, interesting. So he's talking smack about like a QAnoner, then, is what I'm reading. He's saying that the QAnoner is going a little crazy with the beliefs, right? Am I reading this correctly? That's interesting.
Somewhere, to run for president or something.
Wait, he's not?
He's not,
that can't be true.
He's not alive. So here's the point. She told her mom.
Okay, I don't think he could tell if he was like joking. That's really funny.
Mom, I fear not only that you're losing touch with reality, but you're in a, you're losing your daughter, and I can deal with you losing touch with reality. This isn't dementia. This is just you listening to crazy stuff and you're believing it, and it's 24/7.
That's fascinating. Dude is speaking out against QAnon. Wow. I didn't expect that from him.
It's not dementia, it's delusion.
Yeah, delusion, right?
Delusion, yeah.
So she says to her, she goes, but Mom, if you love me and you want to have a relationship with me, I beg you, fast. Do like a couple of days, do a week fast on all your social media. Don't go there. And let's see if we can get some oxygen back in our relationship. And sure enough, her mother was normal. At the end of 5 days, her mom did a social media cleanse. Kind of like a colonic. So in the meantime...
Dude, these people are so weird. God, why did you have to call it a colonic? What is wrong with you?
My job is to put the snorkel on and dive into the sludge for your sake, to give you as best as I can an understanding of what's out there. And I bring with me the profound prophetic perspective. That is, I have a master's degree in theology, and
totally.
It's my background along with business and theology.
Theology is actually a totally legitimate thing to go to school for, actually. Even biblical studies, it's 100% real. Like hermeneutics, studying the biblical studying the literary themes in certain Bible books and stuff like that. That's totally legit. And it can take a long time to understand, particularly understanding how these certain, specific groups have come up with the beliefs that they came to, and why the Catholic Church believes that, and why people don't believe them about this, and that kind of thing. Totally legitimate. So I don't want to knock theology degrees, especially in this world. It's legit. It's important to understand all this stuff in a Christian nationalist country, to understand why these people are like this.
My two things. And studying this theology has given me a worldview on what's happening, but I bring a prophetic perspective as well. Now, for instance, years ago, I remember before Donald Trump came down the escalator in Trump Towers, that Kim Clement and I, the South African prophet that I traveled with, that I was on his board, and we were probably as close as friends as he has in his inner circle.
Inner circle. What a thing to... I only ever heard the term inner circle used in the context of a dictator or a political leader. We'll call it a political leader. any political leader, they all have inner circles. And it's like really weird to refer to some dude as having an inner circle like that.
And he said that he had sent me a prophecy that before Trump came on the scene, where the Lord said, I am dissatisfied with both parties. I am dissatisfied with the Republicans and the Democrats. What I'm about to do will be a shock to the Republicans.
Yeah, again, the Kim Clement, if you're unfamiliar, he is a prophet, quote unquote, who famously, in these people's minds anyway, famously prophesied that Trump would win the election at some point. I think he prophesied this supposedly in like 2007. Trump had been talking about, running for president since the early 2000s, but he knew the time was never quite right. So he didn't actually run. He just talked shit. Like he would start, bullshit campaigns against certain political figures, like the birther conspiracy theory. Trump really pushed that. He was one of the biggest birtherists out there. He gave that conspiracy breath because he intended to run, like leading up to all of that. He intended to try to become president. So anyway, let's continue.
And it will be,
Oh, yeah. So anyway, Kim Clement, making these claims about Trump running for president, none of that's surprising. You guys probably don't remember because, you may not have been paying close attention at the time, but Trump's been talking about it for like literally ever.
Explosive and offensive to the Democrats. And then the prophecy goes, and he was talking about, and I thought when he said it, well, how could God raise up a third party? No third party ever in American history has succeeded because all.
Okay, well, that's not exactly true. I mean, Republicans and Democrats were not always the only two parties, but all right, whatever.
All the entrenched money and power and infrastructure is in the two legs of the Democrats and the Republicans. Third parties can sway the outcome like Perot did with Bush and Clinton. But we don't have a third party that actually has taken over.
Yeah, I talked about this in another segment or whatever recently, but one of the ways in which we fight against fascism, one of the things we must do to fight fascism is to engage in harm reduction. For better or worse, that is our only option. We must engage in harm reduction. And that means not voting for third parties, because voting third party only ever helps fascism. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No more third party voting.
So here's the thing. Huh?
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
DNC is on their way out, so third party's on the rise.
So, but what Kim was prophesying was that that there would be an American party that would rise up. That's my point. Now, Trump comes down the escalator, and he becomes the MAGA version. It's not called the American Party yet, but it's the MAGA movement, Make America Great Again. It's simply, hey, let's get our act together. We're doing a lot of stupid stuff we don't need to do, and it's suicidal, self-sabotaging, and systemic. Let's stop that. And so Trump comes down with common sense. I mean, just a businessman's
common sense, quote unquote, totally.
Bluntness. And I would say it was an instrument that God raised up in answer to the prayers of people for an agent that's like Halley's Comet, comes by every 1,000 years. And
Halley's Comet comes by every 72 years, doesn't it? Every 1,000 years? Okay. That is it, isn't it? Every 70-something years? I believe that's how often.
Need this guy now because he's a holy disruptor to the status quo with grounded, sound policy like a businessman. Having said that, Kim prophesied the American Party. Then I found this other prophecy that Kim had given, and I'm going to play for you in a second, which is about in 2013, he's predicting this. Obama's in office. He's saying there's coming an American Party. But what blew my mind.
I mean, you can say all kinds of shit, like as far back as you want. That's not like revolutionary, the idea that there's going to be another political party that's going to be even further right. I mean, the Tea Party came along in 2009, maybe. I'm not sure exactly when the Tea Party was around. The Tea Party wasn't an actual party, though. It was just like a political movement. And if nothing had happened at all, like with Donald Trump or whatever, if nothing had happened, like if MAGA had not come to exist, he could have just, he could have claimed that he was talking about the Tea Party just as easily. There's always something that you can, point to that you were referring to instead. It's not a real prophecy unless it's undeniable and it's literally impossible that you could have been talking about something else instead. Like, you want me to believe that it's a party, or I'm sorry, you want me to believe it's a prophecy. You're going to have to write it on a piece of paper and seal it in an envelope and give it to me and tell me to open it in 5 years. And in 5 years, when I open it, I will see that you detailed every step of an event in very specific terms, down to the day and the time that something is going to happen. And it was recent, within days of me opening the letter or something. Then I would start to wonder if it was a prophecy. But you telling me that, there's going to be another political party or something, that's not prophetic. That's just you speculating about what's going to happen. You telling me Trump's going to win against Hillary, that's not prophetic. That's a 50-50 coin flip for all intents and purposes. Anyway.
Mine was, and I'm surprised that nobody jumped on it, because I thought people were tracking with what Kim said. Elon Musk, in the midst of his kerfuffle with Trump, posts that we need the American party. He says 80% of the people on his platform are saying both parties are dysfunctional. It's time.
I personally prefer kerfluffle. I think kerfluffle is a far superior term for this. But yeah, wow. Lance Wallnau is saying that Elon Musk said something correct. I'm actually surprised. I'm surprised that he isn't denouncing Elon Musk in strong terms, because he came out against his God Emperor.
Is it time? Go to image 22, guys. Is it time to create a new political party in America and actually represents the 80% in the middle? 80% said yes. And then the next response is the America Party. The people have spoken. A new political party is needed in America to represent the 80% of the middle. The America Party. Now play what Kim prophesied.
Okay, this isn't a prophecy, first of all. And second, these people realized that it's kind of ridiculous and a waste of your time to create a new political party when you can just brainwash the old political party. Hackers, wow, this is actually a really difficult spot to get through. I totally forgot about this. We're going around doing a collectathon now. We're grabbing all of the the missile packs and stuff. I got it right here. Boom.
In 2013,
there's an American party that's emerging. A party that's going to outdo the Republicans and the Democrats. A party that's going to stand up for what is right. Of course, they'll have flaws, but you can see the disintegration of and the discord that's taking place.
Again, honestly, the Tea Party was all over the place right now in the political sphere. It was not surprising for him to say this at this immediate moment at all. You can go back and look at the shit that I've said and call me a prophet, because I was just giving an analysis of what I saw happening in the news at that immediate moment. Honestly, it's not surprising, it's not crazy, it's not whatever. It's just delusion.
This nation that's coming to an end. Maybe it'll take longer than you think, but it's there. It's like John the Baptist in the womb of Elizabeth, leaping when Christ comes into his presence in the womb of Mary. What made him leap? The presence of Christ. Listen, that's important, because they weren't born yet. There are unborn things at this very moment that we need to realize. Even though you cannot see them, they are present. You cannot see a child except for the fact that you can hear the heartbeat nowadays, and you can see the mother growing and so on. But you wouldn't know.
Yes, you would.
But there are things present today that are not yet manifest that will.
You wouldn't know unless. Okay, wait. So he's saying his point here is that you wouldn't know that somebody was pregnant if you couldn't tell that they were pregnant. Well, I mean, yeah, if you don't see the signs of pregnancy, then you don't know somebody's pregnant. Good job. Wow, that was some real revolutionary shit that you just gave us. That was deep. Did God give you this message? I won't know something unless I know something. Jeez. the brains on this guy, truly impressive stuff, huh?
Will yet come, and it takes a prophetic eye to know what they are.
And that was 2013, dare I say, 2 years later, the beginning of the American Party.
Again, Trump was like talking about this shit like long before even 2013. There is nothing surprising, revolutionary, or prophetic about any of this so far.
Came down that escalator. Trump remade the Republican Party, created a new working class, middle class coalition, which is why it's so mischievous that we're dealing with the union leaders organizing in L.A.
Okay. Wow, dude.
ICE resistance and protests.
Wow, dude. Oh my God. The similarity to Germany is uncanny and disturbing, honestly. Like in Germany in the 30s, the grassroots organizations that offered any kind of resistance against Hitler were the unions, like Pipe Fitters Union 303 or whatever, you know. That's who was resisting. That's who was doing the grassroots stuff. Today, we have a bunch of different organizations, not just unions, although unions do strikes and stuff. But unions mostly don't engage in any kind of political action nowadays. It's more, they're just battling against companies who are trying to take advantage of them, right? In Germany, they were taking political action. They were fighting, they were voting against any parties that were opposed to supporting the unions, basically. In fighting against anyone, they were voting on the left. The unions were. By and large, throughout history, unions have been left-wing organizations. And in the United States, though they are not really engaging in political action as much as they used to, Lance Wallnau is still attacking the unions. I find that fascinating. Why is he targeting the unions? Is it because Hitler targeted them? Why? I don't know. What reason does he have to bitch about unions right now?
The working class should recognize Trump as their hero, except when they're in the pocket of the donor class.
The working class Trump is not the savior of the working class. They said the same shit about Hitler. Like, literally, they said this. Identical stuff, which makes me believe that Lance Wallnau knows that and is intentionally, like, adopting the same strategies. I really believe that's what's happening right now, truthfully. But anyway, they said the same thing about Hitler, and he wasn't. He was not he didn't like the working class. He didn't help the working class at all. And it's a joke, a sick joke, to say such a thing. It's just not true. So the point is that, like, the Nazis oppose unions very much, and so does Donald Trump. So does the Republican Party. They have always opposed unions.
The billionaire, multimillionaire ideologues who are the Marxists, who are intent on taking America down and opposing Trump while they do it. What's going on in California right now is a taxpayer-funded riot, which is really not even a people movement like they're saying.
Okay, so what's actually happening in California is, at this immediate moment, protests against ICE. It's happening here where I live, too, near Philadelphia and in Philadelphia. ICE comes into a community and starts doing raids on work sites and restaurants. They just come into these communities and they start forcing their way in and demanding lists of, like, employees and stuff. And people create, like, walls, like human chains around the immigration centers, the local immigration centers, to make it difficult for ICE to do their job because they're disrupting their local communities. So that's what happened in California. They were, like, opposing ICE doing their raids and shit. And Trump sent in literal Marines, like sent in the military. This is, you know, when the military enters into a city, it's martial law. Like, the military is another word for, like, or martial means military, put it that way. Martial means military, martial law, military law. The military is controlling an area. That's what that means. So Trump is sending the military in to control this area because people opposed what was happening. But Lance Wallnau, he's one of those people who I believe knows he's lying and is doing it intentionally because he wants to further his goals. He knows what this is doing. He knows these people are not disingenuous, being paid or whatever. He knows that there's real honest opposition to this shit, but he doesn't care. Ends justify the means mentality. Consequentialism. Whatever I do doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I do something like truly evil, as long as I get my weird little nutcase Christian nationalist state set up. That's what matters. That is his mindset on this. So the people in LA were opposing ICE. It was peaceful demonstrations. There was no force, no violence, no nothing. And then the military came in. Now there's violence. Once the military came in. The military's doing shit like, and I know the National Guard is different from the military, but in this moment, they're serving the same role effectively. The National Guard can show up to areas like Hurricane Katrina and they can like restore order and they can pass out water and help rebuild and make masks for people when COVID hit and all that shit. They're fulfilling the role of the military right now. The National Guard is. Oh, I remember this little section of the game. I already got this item, but it says that I didn't. Oh, it's there now. It was not there before. That's crazy. Okay, whatever. Anyway, so the military came in and they are causing all kinds of problems. I saw this video of the military standing in front of this little area, and this woman walks up. Just one person, one woman carrying a bag, walking to her house because she lives in the building that they were standing in front of or behind or whatever it was. And she walked up to them, and she didn't walk up close. She was good 15 feet away, and they pointed a gun at her, and they said, leave. And she said, I live here. I want to go to my house. And they shot her. I mean, the guns are using less lethal rounds, not non-lethal rounds. They aren't non-lethal. They are less lethal rounds, but they will break bones. Those guns will. The rubber bullets, they'll break bones. They will cause they will cause bruising. They can cause internal bleeding. They're really, really dangerous. If they hit you in the eye, they will kill you, for example. If there's a ricochet and it hits you in the eye or something, it will kill you. They're not non-lethal. I want people to understand this. Okay, rubber bullets are not non-lethal. They shouldn't be firing them wantonly. They point the gun at the woman and they pull the trigger. They just shoot her. They could have killed her very easily. She falls over, and a person from across the street saw what was happening and ran over, had a little medical kit, and was like treating her wounds from the non-lethal or the less lethal round. That's what the military is doing right now. The military in the United States was set up specifically and intentionally to never, ever be turned on the citizens under any circumstances. That is the type of shit that the founding fathers fought against specifically and intentionally. Military is there to protect the citizens, never to fight them. But under Donald Trump, the military is fighting U.S. citizens, is forcing them to adhere to their will or whatever, to the will of the president. It's real ugly shit, what we're seeing right now. Real ugly shit. And Lance Wallnau, not only is he running cover for them, not only is he enabling all of this, he is facilitating it. He's helping it. He wants this shit to play out. He wants a fascist dictatorship. Weirdly, Lance Wallnau has been not only defending Russia, but speaking really weirdly positively about Russia for since 2017, since before the Russiagate stuff really turned into what it would eventually be. When people were disturbed by Russia and what they were up to, Lance Wallnau was supporting Russia. It was weird at that time. And then, Trump slowly but gradually normalized loving Russia and believing that they were good guys in this whole equation. But Lance Wallnau has always been there, bizarrely. I believe that Lance Wallnau is a full Russian plant. Let me give you a justification for that.
You want a clear villain in this story? It's hard to make Putin the villain if you have all the facts, because the CIA and Hillary Clinton tried to invade Russia to undercut Putin, to bring the LGBT doctrine in. They had activists there. Putin locked it down, kicked them out, and clamped down like a good dictator does.
That's the type of shit that he used to say. Let me look for this other one. Hold on. This is the one I was looking for right here. This is actually a lot older. No, this is 2018. Yeah, this is what I thought. 2018, late May.
I'm suspicious when the establishment right and the entire left all hate one nation.
I mean, oh, damn it. I didn't mean to do that. I mean, he just said it there. Nobody trusted Russia. Nobody, even the right, didn't trust Russia at this moment in history. Like, it's been on and off. There have been scandals that Russia has been involved in, and then people forgot about it, and there are more scandals, you know. At this moment in history, nobody liked Russia. Nobody. Right or left. And we have Lance Wallnau, Christian nationalist, telling people Russia isn't so bad. This is, like, insane.
You know what? I'm beginning to wonder what's right with Russia, that they're so vilified by the left. Putin is why is it we cozy up and carries over there bicycling with Iran right now? Hey, Putin is trying to be a friend to the West. What's their obsession? You see, what we did was under Hillary Clinton. You want to know why Putin would ever do something, that even could show up with anti-Hillary influence? Under Hillary's State Department, with the Ukraine and in Russia, the left progressives are like, they're intent on ideology. They're like evangelists.
The left is like evangelists. He's using evangelist as an insult. Isn't that fascinating? Aside from that, this is before like any Ukraine stuff happened. So like all the shit that he's talking about Ukraine, this should kind of show you like that this message is very clearly, obviously from Russia. They wanted him to deliver this message to the American people. I believe Lance Wallnau is well, maybe not even paid. I don't know. He's most definitely working for Russia. I don't see how anyone can see it any other way.
They have to get their ideas out there. Their organizations were exporting these agendas through like Soros-funded entities, etc., through organizations into the territory of Russia, where Putin actually has gone on record because his public policy has been shaped actually by Christians involved in his own in the Orthodox community, that he is for marriage between a man and a woman.
Dictators always either embrace the church or try to co-opt the church or whatever. Hitler did this too. You can argue over whether you think he was Christian. He very clearly was Christian, but okay, that's whatever. You want to argue over it, okay, but you can't argue that he didn't callously, intentionally use the church to his benefit. He absolutely used it to control people more effectively.
Don't ever underestimate the hostility that America's system has towards anyone that won't bow the knee to the orthodoxy of the homosexual agenda. So he says he believes in Christianity, and he supports the state church, and he will not, he locked up the Pussycat Riot group or whatever, the group, and he's shutting down the LGBT community. That is the unpardonable sin to the liberal. I'm not saying that Putin's a good guy. He's like a mafia chief over there. I mean, Russia's the Wild West still. But I will say that he is not nearly, as a Christian, you probably, if you're faithful to Russia and you're not a danger to his government, you're probably not going to find him an adversary in your own nation. I fear more liberals in America than I fear Putin in Russia.
Anyway, Lance Wallnau is a colossal scumbag and has always worked for Putin. Like, saying shit like that at that moment in history, at that, like, cultural zeitgeist, if you will, was wild. It was wild to listen to. I cannot believe that he got away with saying that with little to no pushback at that moment in U.S. history. That should have tipped everybody off to what he was. Anyway, let's just finish this last bit from Wallnau, because he has a little more to tell us here.
but it's an activist
Let's step back just a hair and see what he was saying previously, too.
millionaire ideologues who are the Marxists who are intent on taking America down and opposing Trump while they do it. What's going on in California right now is a taxpayer-funded riot, which is really not even a people movement like they're saying, but it's an activist movement. I've got the organizations and the funding in my hand right.
He doesn't actually. This is just like Glenn Beck just making shit up about the Tides Foundation forever ago, years ago. This is just made up bullshit all the way down. He's got a list of organizations that he wants to demonize and sees an opportunity. So any organization he doesn't like, Democrats or any even communist organizations, he'll probably pick some of those and he'll say those guys are funding these protests. Like paying people to show up to them is the implication. When people wouldn't otherwise even care about these types of protests, they're just there for the money. It's just nonsense all the way down. It's all nonsense.
Right now, thanks to the courageous journalism work of Jennifer Van Laar, we have the receipts, people. I've got 3 of the organizations that are behind the LA riots. I've got their budgets. I've got the organizations.
It wasn't a riot. Trump sent in the military. Then civil disobedience really broke out. Trump made this into what it is now.
I've got who's paying them and how much they're getting paid. You don't want to miss the disclosure of the machine behind the anarchy. We're finally cracking the code. We're going to show you that in the next episode. God bless.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, the guy is a colossal scumbag, and he's a shill. You can't convince me that he believes half the shit that he says. Honestly. Holy Christ, dude. I forgot about this battle. I remember this battle now. It's like really difficult. I'm so close. No, I died. Okay, I'm done.